If you've been following our channel, you saw video of us buying these rollers last fall, and this week, this is Monday, this week we'll be installing them. I got the Brubaker boys here, they're helping me this week. This is Derek, and there's going to be Justin and Trevor, you'll see them. And so we're just wanting to get a little bit of education about these rollers and how they work. And the other rollers have about an 1/8 inch rod that goes through the center of them with tiny little bearings. The bearings are maybe 3/8.
Yeah, very small.
Very, very small.
Not sealed.
So Derek's just going to pull this one apart here just so we can kind of show you what these rollers are like. Go ahead and pull that one out.
Right, so these just have a little, I can get it off here. These just have a little metal clip to keep the shaft in, and then it pulls out, and that's like a 3/4 inch solid shaft. So
Octagon, right?
That'll be heavy enough. We got this. It's just about a 2.5 inch steel tube with these inserts in the end. And these are made of nylon. So they've got a 6205 bearing in there. It's a common bearing. It's sealed, so that'll keep dust out. And since these are nylon, they won't rust. So popping the bearings out and replacing them if you ever need to is really easy. But these have probably been in service for years and are still spinning nice, and definitely a lot more serviceable and user-friendly than the other rollers. Way heavier too, so these are going to be awesome.
Yeah, one of the issues that I had with the other ones were every once in a while I'd have to clean them because they'd get dust in them, and then they'd be fine for a month or two, or sometimes less. But so yeah, I'm looking forward to this. We'll get him working on this a little bit, and then I'll show you what the other lads are up to. So this is Justin. He's the good-looking one of the group. Handsome, muscular, and you know, the rest of them, well, you know, you can't have everything. The rest of them are just rich, that's all.
Something like that.
All right. So we've been having some issues with our truck. What are you finding? Anything?
Yeah, from what I've tested, the glow plug relay is not working.
Just the relay. Maybe the glow plugs are okay.
Yeah.
So that's simple fix?
Mm-hmm.
Auto parts store has one in stock, just down the road.
Yep.
Good.
Yep.
Good. Well, here's how this works. Take my card.
And go get one.
Have a nice time.
Okay. Sounds good.
Don't go back to Mexico.
Yeah. All right.
All right, so we're going to check back with my mechanic here. So he found a relay. I think we said that maybe already, but he found a relay that goes to the glow plugs that was not producing.
Nope, not working.
Not working. So, what'd you say? 63 bucks, something like that?
Yep, 63 bucks.
Yep. So 63 bucks, and we'll be hopefully back in business.
So as you can see, Dad got that project finished up with Trevor's help, and they got the truck out and going. They got the hood open there, they're recharging the batteries. Our batteries are getting kind of old on it, and because they do a lot of work with the lift, they do need to be recharged from time to time. We have started tearing stuff out. Dad did a great job getting good video of that this morning. That's right, there's plenty more tearing out to look at, but we got these ones pulled out, and we got stuff coming in. There we got some granite blocks coming in, and rollers have been moved over closer by. So stuff is getting ready. We're starting to move and groove. All right, so we got to decide. We were thinking about putting this turntable so that we could put a rail in by that wall at some point, but we've decided to put it out here. And then if we want to have another line, we'll have it out farther. That way we can leave our tools and stuff where they're at, because eventually the truck will not be sitting there. Eventually the lift will be right here, and then we won't have to worry about that. So.
All right, so basically this turntable unit here Needs to be mounted on something solid that'll raise it to the right height. So we've got these old granite blocks. They came with the rails, which was nice. That's what the old company was using them for. But I'm sticking some expanding concrete anchors down in. These aren't exactly even. I've had to play around with depth a little bit, and once they're in there, they don't come back out. So you got to live with it. So now I think I found the right depth, though. So I'm working on drilling 2 more holes. This unit will sit up on these blocks, and then we can position the blocks where we want, kind of towards the end of the project, and then we'll screw these to the floor with some angle brackets. But that's what I'm working on right now, a bunch of drilling. And yeah, getting there.
You can see here, we got it all done. It's in, it's rotating. It's going to take a little bit before we can get the lift put in so that we can get our other line put in going this way, but it's all looking good for now. All right, so they've got all the rollers moved out of the other room. Everything's over here ready to go. We use the old handy dandy forklift for that. A little more space over here on this side again. Stuff on the floor, making more mess. So some of these rollers are just not rolling very well. Some of them, not too bad. Some of these they've already went through, but basically they're going through, pulling apart what's not rolling good and putting together stuff that's working. So haven't made it too far, but what we do have here is working. So that's where we're at for today. So one major project that we need to work on is our pass-through. Back by the dust collector, we always have a spot that's back there that the rollers are kind of cutting off. So we need to have a pass-through. And when we did our first one, the pass-through was not adequate. It was just a little bit too narrow and it wouldn't fit. It was fine to walk through, but it would not fit our carts, and our carts get put back there because they're out of the way. We don't need them all the time, but when you do need them, it's a pain in the butt to get them in and out of there. You have to kind of pull them sideways, and you could lift the overhead door and take them out and bring them all the way around, but that's a pain as well. So right now he is marking out and cutting for a new pass-through, I don't know what you call it, a bridge kind of a thing. Basically it just lifts up a section of the rollers, can be moved out of the way, and then we can walk through them. So he was getting stuff measured and getting stuff cut for that. Once we got that all cut and separated, there was not supports on the ends there. You can see there's just one support in the very middle, but there was no support on the ends, and because it's going to be a piece that is kind of independent, it's flexing up and down, it's not going to be tied in and welded to the next pieces beside it. It really needed to have that structural, both on the top and on the bottom. So the rollers themselves obviously tie side to side, and then there's that one in the middle, but we wanted a little bit more than that. So here they're just taking and welding in some supports so that that piece is extra rigid. That way we won't have any issue with it once we get it put on here. All right, we'll kind of walk back here so you can see what this was all about. And there you can see the piece, and it can be lifted up. It's on just a couple simple hinges, and then it can just be laid in. They did end up welding another little bracket in there so that it can't go side to side on the end, that it's not tied down. But that just kind of shows you how it worked, and that was very, very handy to have this done. Okay, one of the next big things that needed to be addressed, when we had our old blasting booth that we were blasting by hand, we would roll the stones in there, and then it had tracks that we could pull the stone closer to the blasting booth or push it back farther away from, not the blasting booth itself, but from the face of the blasting booth where the actual sandblasting was happening. We could bring it closer, we could push it farther away. So if we needed to work on a stone or needed to see something, you could just bring it in and then you could push it back to where you wanted it. And when we set up the new automatic booth, we did not have any way to adjust stones forward and backwards and that was a bit of a pain. Dad constantly found himself having to jump up in there and try and move stuff and shift stuff, and it just wasn't handy. So a large portion of what the guys were doing, probably almost 2 days, working on this, I bet, was working on just making a rail and a cart that would go back and forth. We already had the angle iron from the old one that we had in the old booth, and so it was just a matter of taking that and cutting it down to size, welding on wheels onto a piece of the track, and getting it ready to go. Another big thing, you'll see a lot of, the roller parts laying around on the floor here. And that was because, like I said, some of the rollers were not in as good a shape as others, and all of them basically just needed a little attention. And so we pulled them apart, we looked at them, we put them back together. They got oiled, they got clean, they got taken and spun up, so that we could just see they were spinning free in decent shape. And so that was a big process, just to kind of recondition what we had. And so it was really nice to get that done, and it definitely took a significant amount of time, but I think it was well worth it. And with building this cart, basically we already had the wheels, we already had the angle iron, like I said. It was just a matter of getting it to the right size so that it fit in the booth and that these wheels would fit onto the roller section that we wanted to move. And I'm a little curious to see mounting these wheels. Obviously are traditionally would be straight underneath whatever weight is on there. Having them out to the side like this, I am very curious to see how they will work. It was a decision I was not a part of, and so I don't know how it'll take the weight being out that way. I'm not sure, but it's 4 of them. They're pretty strong caster wheels, and they have good bearings on them, so it'll work, I hope. But we'll see. If we need to adjust it and make something a little different, then we'll have to address that at a later time. But for now, these are in and done, and I think they're going to work pretty good, but time will tell on that. I thought that we didn't have any footage of the track being finished and put into the booth, and I was almost done with my edit, and I found this video here, him testing it out once he got the rollers all on, and then actually bringing it in and putting it into the booth. So there you can see the track laid down, pushing back and forth, and kind of testing it. The fourth and final project in the roller project as a whole was getting the little turn so that the rollers could go out the door. Beforehand, they came straight out of that booth, and they would go and they would hit the garage wall rather than going out the garage door. Now, we don't have rollers to go outside yet, but we will be putting another couple sections, probably 20 feet outside the doors, so that we can just roll stuff straight on through when it is done and cleaned. We won't have to back the truck up to the door anymore and open the door to get stuff out. We can just open the door, roll it out, and it'll be outside and can be picked up with convenience at any time. So this was kind of the final project that was bigger that the guys tackled while they were here. All right, here we've got them putting in the last stretch of rollers. We made it all the way through around the project. Took some time, but we got there. And then here he's putting in the bolts into the floor, basically drill down, and then they're an expanding bolt that holds them in. They don't go too deep because we've got heated floors, but deep enough that it holds all the structure together, plus they're tied together. Well, that was quite the project. And here we are, Dad's using her. We'll just kind of take you around just quick. Everything's all in. One thing I didn't talk about in the video was these corners. They're the only things that we left. They're a little beefier than the other rollers that we had, and we haven't had any issue with them, and so we left our corners that we have. Here is the pass-through area. When we finished the video, there was still a post kind of right there where it used to be, but now it's moved back. So that whole space is now open. And one addition since the video, that little hook got put on for Dad to easily grab a hold of to push and pull for the rollers. And then going all the way through from booth to booth, and the S, as I call it, all put in and set. Now, there is no rollers yet on the other side of that door, but that will be hopefully coming. That is kind of the idea. So anyways, we thank you so much for coming along. Hopefully this video was entertaining, maybe even a little educational. That is always my goal here. We will see you all next time.